This how's running the engine with the valve cover off, watching the rocker arms shoot up and down like that. Darndest thing happened. Pushrod comes shooting out, hit me smack dab square right in the eye here.
Ha! Well, I guess now we can call you One-Eyed Willie. You gonna be okay?
I'll be alright. Well, my eye won't be alright.
Sorry about your eye, Willie, but you gotta be more careful. Seems like you're always getting hurt working on this stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'm just accident prone. I don't know. I need a couple of chainsaw chains. 18-incher. How much are those running you? Me. You.
$36 plus tax. You got that kind of money on you? Ah, your eyeball!
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't realize that was in there. This is take what you need. Alright, thanks, Taryl. I'll be back next time I need something.
Alright, Willie, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Real funny, Taryl. You're hilarious. Yeah, right.
Oh, hey there, One-Eyed Willie. I see you're back.
Oh, hey, how you doing? I need an air filter from a dog splitter.
Whoa! What happened to your finger?
Remember those chainsaw chains you sold me?
Yeah?
There's your answer.
Oh, wow. I guess we have to call you One-Eyed Fingerless Willie now. You're pretty accident prone, aren't you?
What do you mean? Everybody has bad days. You got that air filter or what? My buddies are waiting on me.
Alright, but whatever you do, be careful. I've seen people get hurt operating them log splitters. And I know how you are.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. This ain't my first monster truck show. Alright, Taryl. I'll catch you on the flip side.
One-Eyed Fingerless Willie, what happened to you now?
Bad enough my friends are all calling me out, now I gotta hear from you too.
Where's your arm at?
Well, let's just say drinking and splitting don't mix.
Wow, I guess we're gonna have to start calling you One-Eyed Fingerless One-Armed Willie from now on.
Har, Taryl, real funny. Hey, I need a set of blades for my mower.
Blades for your mower? I don't know if I want to sell you any blades. As accident prone as you are, you might get hurt.
What? I ain't accident prone. You sell fun dip here?
No, I got some hummus.
Hummus? You should sell candy. Like baseball field concession stand.
Well, I ain't got any candy. Are you gonna be alright?
I'm fine. Just give me them blades. Don't worry, Taryl. I ain't gonna be the one wrenching on it. My buddy is. As you can see, I don't have no arm. How am I gonna wrench? Whoa! Get a wrench in that thing.
Well, I'm glad to hear that your buddy's gonna be putting these blades on and not you. You know, you being accident prone and everything. Here's your blades. Where do you want me to? How do you want?
Just throw them under my arm there, Taryl.
Alright. Like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Okay. Okay, Willie.
Alright.
All right. Whoa, take it easy there. Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be alright.
Pterodactyl here. And today's how-to video is gonna be on this here Briggs and Stratton V-twin Intek motor. Now when this thing came in, it was running real bad. And first thing we thought it was the timing was off. We thought it had a sheared key, and we checked that and that wasn't the problem. So the next thing we checked were the valves. And this is what we found. Here, hey Shadow, I'm gonna have to put you down. This is my puppy dog, Shadow. Right, this is what we found when I pulled the valve cover off. Push rod's gone. Gone. Completely gone. It's inside the motor. Now I'm going to have to try to fish that out. And the other push rod's bent. Now I'm going to tell you what caused that. The valve guide that the valve rides in had moved. And it restricted the travel of the valve. See, the valve's only going that far. And when it restricts the travel, something got to give. And you know what give? The push rod. It bends. So then we checked the other side, same thing. But it didn't bend it yet. But you could see the guide is coming out. So it was only a matter of time. Now usually the cause of that is because the motor overheats. Because it's an air-cooled engine. And the head is aluminium, as you say over there in England. The head is aluminium and the guide is steel. So the aluminium expands faster than the steel, and then the guide moves. And that's usually a result of overheating because of block cooling fins. But when we pulled the cover off of this one, the fins are clean, see? There's no buildup. Usually there's a mouse nest or rat nest in there, and it'll make it overheat. So this one I think is just poor manufacturing. So we're going to pull the heads, and then I'll show you exactly what I mean when we pull the head. So the first thing we got to do is pull this cover off and pull this off and pull the manifold off. So let's get started, gang. Move the fuel line, put that out of the way. We're going to take this plate off, 3/8. There's your governor spring, right there. And here's another spring that's hooked to the governor rod. Now we should just be able to lay that down. So remember, this spring here goes in here. We're just going to leave it lay there for now. Now we're going to disconnect this anti-backfire valve plug. Now we're going to take the manifold off. I better get a different tool. Disconnect this crankcase breather hose in the back, and then unhook the throttle link at the governor. And make sure you pinch that gas line off. It's making a mess. Okay. Now we're down to here. Now I'm going to pull off this little baffle here, and we're going to pull the fuel pump off. 5/16. If you want, so you don't lose them, stick them back in a couple threads. Pinch off the gas line. And now I'm going to pull this fuel pump off. Your bracket may vary depending on your model, but if you got tools, I'm sure you're going to know how to take the fuel pump off. Alright, disconnect the coil wire. Get this out of the way so we can get at the head bolts. Now I'm just going to bend this out of the way. That bolt under there is kind of tricky to get at and kind of a pain to put back in. So if you bend it a little bit, that ain't going to hurt none. Alright, now let me get a socket to take this off. Hold on. Like, hey Taryl, why don't you have all them sockets there ahead of time? Well, I do! I didn't realize I had it laying right there. Coming out pretty easy. There's one hiding on me. Okay. Get this other push rod out of the way. You can see this one's bent too. Now I don't know why that one bent, because this valve guide didn't move on this one. Maybe when that other one jumped out of there, maybe it took that one out. Now I'm going to take this head over on the bench, pull them valve springs off and show you exactly what happened. Okay, Shadow, I'm going to try to get that push rod that fell inside the engine block out. What do you think my chances are of getting that out? What's that? Oh, you don't think I'm going to be able to get it out? Well, I'm going to try, Shadow. I thought you had more faith than me. Okay, that push rod done went through this hole here, found its way in there, and I'm going to take this magnet on a stick and see if I can grab it. Wish me luck, because if not, I'm going to have to crack this motor open and try to get it out. We don't want to leave it in there. It might do some more damage if it already hasn't. Another thing I could do is take the dipstick out. Maybe I can fish it, get it fished out through there. Come on. Nope, I ain't having no luck. Alright, I'm going to take dipstick out and try that next. Shadow, you're going to have to move. What? Yeah, you got to move. I'm going to pop the flywheel off. Okay, now I've done this before, and I've had a lot of people in the comment section say, you should use a flywheel puller, you're going to ruin the motor and all that. You know what? They make a tool, a lot of manufacturers for these engines in the past make a tool for shocking it off the way I'm going to do it right now. You're not going to hurt anything. You know why? I'm prying up on the flywheel. I'm putting all my pressure on the flywheel, and I'm just hitting the crankshaft. So I'm not going to wreck anything or hurt anything by doing it the way I do it. Now I want to find a good spot to get under there so I don't... Let me find a good spot to pry up on. How about right here? I'll go against the head. Alright, so I'm putting all the pressure on the flywheel. And a good 4-pound sledge, 5-pound, 4-pound. Give it a good, there. Ain't hurt nothing. And nut'll go back on. That's what that thing is up there for. Oh, you're gonna ruin it, Taryl. You should never do that. Shut up! Been doing this for 40 years, never had an engine fail yet by doing it that way. I'm gonna take this off, see if I can see anything in there. Geez, all these screws are loose. There we go. Nope, ain't gonna be able to get to it through there, I don't think. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Alright, they got this one screw on this plate, and that's holding that dipstick on. Now, I probably could have got at it with the flywheel on there. But then you also learn how to pop flywheel off too. I'm not going to do it that way, Taryl. I'm going to get a flywheel puller. Yeah? Well, sometimes you still got to beat on top of that flywheel puller to shock it off. So you're basically doing the same thing. You're pulling up on the flywheel. We're going to end up cracking this motor in half to get that out of there, I know it. Fishing around with the magnet on a stick. It's like fishing in a fishing hole. Just trying to save myself some extra work, but that don't look like that's going to happen. This head is bad also, so I'm going to take it off anyway. Boy, them bolts sure don't seem like they're very tight. To get me an extension for that last bolt. Okay, I'm trying to get this bad head apart to show you, and I can't even get the spring to collapse enough to get the keepers out. I got one keeper out. Maybe I can get the other one. Yeah, there we go. See? See the guide? Now here's a good used head out of the boneyard. See? That's how much of the guide should be sticking up. See how much of the guide is sticking up here? Because it moved. Because it's a piece of crap. Then you can see in here, I don't know if you could see that, I left my flashlight over there. See if I got another flashlight here. Here's another one. So you can see it moved down in there. And then here's the one on the used head. See, it's flush. Now they only use a seal on the intake side. They don't put one on the exhaust, a valve guide seal. Because I know you're going to be going, how come there's not a valve guide seal on that side? Because that's the way they made it, alright? And then this head, same thing. I'm going to take this one apart and show you how this one started to move, but didn't get there yet. Like I said, its fins ain't all that clogged up with a bunch of crap to make it overheat. That's air-cooled engine. That's just what it means. It's air-cooled. Got to have air passing through them fins. Yeah, see this one? See how much that one's sticking up to? Not as bad as this one, but it was on its way. See, down in there, it ain't flush. Moved about, looks like about 1/4 of an inch it moved. Usually on the exhaust side because it gets real hot. Now I know there's guys that go, well, you could fix that. Yeah, you could probably knock that guide out and maybe grind some relief in there and put something on it. I don't know, maybe some JB weld or some Loctite. But you know, when you want to remove Loctite, you use heat to remove it. So I don't know how well that would work. And do you want to take a chance of going through all this work? Now this customer that owns this mower, he had an option when I called him and gave him the price. New heads or good used heads. The only thing with used heads is I can't guarantee them they're used. But, you know, they're a fraction of the cost of the new ones. At the time of the filming of this, these heads are about $150 a piece. So he's looking at $300 for 2 heads. Not costing the labor and all that. He's going to be in this thing for about 500 bucks unless you're doing it yourself, like you're doing now, how to, if you want to do all this. Because it's a lot of work. You going to do it? You going to tear this all apart and do it? Alright, I'm going to use this head on that mower, and I'm going to refurbish it. I'm going to go through it, so you're going to learn how to do that too. So it's a little corroded in that, but I'm going to spruce it all up. We're going to clean up the seats, clean up the valves. I could even use the valves, his valves from his heads. But I want to clean this up first. It's nice if you got a blast cabinet to do this, and you notice I only blasted in the chamber for the cylinder head. I didn't get the machine surface, and as you could tell, look at that fossilization on there. Looks like fossils were in there. You know what that was? Screw came out of the throttle plate, the piston was beating it against the head. Those are thread marks from the screw in the throttle plate or choke plate. Got in there on this motor. Alright, we're going to do a little hillbilly machining. Now you're going to go, oh, you're going to warp the head? No, we're not going to warp the head. It'll be fine. Couple ways you can do it. You got a nice flat metal surface, get some sticky sandpaper. This is some 150. You can stick that down. Take the head. This is hillbilly machining, boy. Woo! Hillbilly machine shop. You can do it like that. Or if you got like a sanding pad, I got a piece of 1/4 inch thick rubber, flat rubber. You can kind of hillbilly machine it this way too. We're not taking off a lot of material. We're just kind of making sure it's flat. A lot of this is just discoloration because there's a little bit of corrosion on there. It'll be fine. Gasket will seal her up. Again, like I always say, the lawnmower ain't the space shuttle. We're not flying to the moon to it or going out of space. I'm sure there's probably alien how-to videos too. Aliens are doing right now on how to fix one of their spaceships. They probably got some kind of crazy YouTube-like alien channel. There, that's good. That's nice, that's pretty. Okay, here's the other head that I found. I had to find another good one. Now this one's in better shape than this one. Now, not everybody I know has got a blast cabinet, but if you got one of these, with this kind of brush on the end, I cleaned it up with that, and what's nice about this is you could stick it in there, and stick it in here, and clean all the boogers out of there. So I just had to clean this one up. And then of course I put it in my solvent tank, and then I washed it with soap and water. Now, I'm going to do a valve job because these are used heads. So here, Mr. Cameraman, take them valves and show them. See how they got a ridge on them? So they need to be resurfaced or replaced. Maybe you got a local automotive machine shop that can resurface them valves. Otherwise, I would suggest putting new ones in. But I've got a valve grinding machine that resurfaces them. So here's one I resurfaced and lapped in. Now you want, when you lap it in, you want that to be even all the way around that ridge like that, that ring. That's from lapping it. If it's spotty, if it's in different spots, that valve either needs to be resurfaced a little more or it's bent or warped. Probably warped. But that's how you want it to look. And another thing, not everybody has got one of these new wave valve seat cutters. This thing's very expensive. You can look it up and see. You'll go, wow, that thing's expensive. So some more Hillbilly machining. Take a piece of emery paper and see how I tore it like this. I did this in my other valve job video. And then just stick it around the valve. See how it fits nice? And you can polish up that seat. Clean that seat. Go back and forth. See? It makes it nice. Now I'll go ahead and do that to both of these and then lap them in and put all the springs back on. And then we'll put the heads back on the engine. Here's my valve face grinding machine. I'm going to grind the faces on here. It's nice to have one of these. All nice and purty. Isn't that purty? Okay, we're going to lap this in now. Got some valve lapping compound. Put that on the face of the valve. Pretty simple. A lot of you guys probably already know how to do this. Got my suction cup thing. You can get that at auto parts store. And you want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You don't want to spin it. Back and forth. You know how come I know that? Because look at this here. Look at this antique valve lapping tool. Look at that thing. And you crank it. See, look what it does. It goes back and forth. Back and forth. And this was made for lapping valves. This antique tool. The McGilla cutter, I call it. So that's what you want to do. And then I kind of do that. Kind of helps get the compound around it again. And you want to pull it out and check it. Wipe it off. See? Nice ring all the way around. We know it's going to seal. Like I said, a lot of you guys probably already know this. But this is nice because if you're doing this out of your house, now let's clean that compound out real good. Otherwise, you don't get that compound off of there, it's going to lap that valve to death. So I'm showing you all this stuff that you could do at your house. If you're at a shop, well, you should already know this. And you shouldn't be watching this video unless you're watching for the comedy. I know I don't watch other how-to videos. You know what videos I watch? Cat videos. I love cat videos. What's that, Shadow? Oh, you heard me say I like watching cat videos, not dog videos. Oh, I watch dog videos too, Shadow. Okay, we're ready to reinstall the valves. Check this. Intake valve seal. This one's still good. If yours is all hard and broken and, you know, got hot and got cracks in it, you might want to get a new one. and then lube up the valve stems. I'm going to use the old gel lube. And then you're going to need, you know, one of these. And then I got plenty of springs from all these heads. Clean them up, make sure they're clean. Sure everything's clean. Pretty simple to do this. Crank her down. And then you got your little keepers. The little Jeepers Creepers keepers on there. Jeepers Keepers Creepers. And release it. And there's your dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of them. Okay, we're ready. Reinstall. Got the new head gasket. Put that on. And I also leave this loose because there's a little wiggle in there. We can drop that back in the muffin. And then get this on those pins, those locating pins. There we go. Make sure you ain't got no wires or nothing pinched behind that head. And we'll stick head bolt in there. Just to hold it. And then we're going to torque them down. Okay, they recommend 220 inch-pounds, which is about 27 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, just tighten them by hand. Just make sure you go in a cross pattern. Now, I'm sure in the manual they've got some specific pattern. Again, ain't the space shuttle. So just start with this one in the middle, and you want to gradually tighten them down. So I'm going to go from here to here, to here, to here, and then with this one. And just a little bit at a time until you get to 220. This one only goes up to 200. Like I said, if you ain't got a torque wrench, just tighten them by hand. Just don't strip them out. And then just go around and check every one after you get done. So just go here, 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 here. That should be fine. Okay, now we're going to put the push rods in. So remember, the end of that push rod goes on the end of the tappet down there. Make sure you don't stick it in the hole where the goes into the block where the other push rod's in there still. And then here's your lifter. Make sure this is in there right. Not like this. That's wrong. You want it like this, so it pivots. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in. We're going to get it started. I'm going to get it started a little bit. And then put the other end in there. And then check down there to make sure you're still on the end of the tappet. Alright, we look good. Now I'll go ahead and put the other one in, then we're going to set the valves. Okay, now here's the intake one. It's aluminum. The exhaust one's steel. See, here's your port, intake port. It's going down at an angle going to this valve. That's how you know that's the intake. Again, stick it in there, make sure you're on the tappet. And then go ahead and stick the rocker on there. Make sure it's in there right. And then tighten it down. I'm sure there's a torque spec on this, but just make sure they're tight. Not crazy tight. We're going to snap that bolt off. There, that's good. Nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to set the valves. 4,000 is what I set them at. Turn the motor over till you got one of the valves open. Doesn't matter which one. You're just going to do the one across from it. So this is open. T40 Torx is what fits in here in a 1/2 inch wrench or 13 millimeter. And then turn in the T40 part till the feeler's snug, and then hold it, and then tighten that jam nut. There, that's good. Slides in there good. Not real tight, not real loose. I got lucky on that one. Then turn it over. Now, this valve will be open. And then you just do the same on this side. And do it on all 4 of them. Simple as pie. Snug it up. Turn in the Torx bit. Tighten down that jam nut a little. Once you do this a bunch of times, you'll get used to it. I'm going to tighten this on a little bit more. There we go. That's a little too tight. So then you just back it off till you get it right. There we go. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, that's all there is to setting the valves. I'll do the other side and then we'll put the rest of it together. Okay, now I'll put the carburetor back on and manifold. Now this one's got the metal manifold. There's some of these Intek twins that got a plastic manifold, and that uses a rubber intake manifold gasket, like an O-ring. So you might want to replace that. Now, if you don't have the paper gaskets, and you have to use them over, I like this Hi-Tack gasket sealer, because it's sticky. You just spray it on like spray paint, both sides. You kind of let it dry for a couple minutes. And then you can just stick it on there. Because maybe you're doing this and it's like, oh, I don't have the intake gaskets, or I'm out in the woods. I can't get these gaskets. And then they don't stick. This will stick. I just didn't push on it hard enough. There we go. Remember, hook in your throttle link back into the governor. And then we could stick these screws back in. And then don't forget to put this plate back on if you took it off. You don't have to take this plate off to pull the heads, but I just took it off to show you. It's only 2 screws. These heads really aren't that bad compared to the crawler. Don't forget to hook up this vent tube. Plug that back in. So I guess now we'll put the valve covers on. I got new gaskets for them. I recommend new gaskets and not using them over. And that's pretty simple. Just put it on. Make sure you put the one with the vacuum hose for the fuel pump on the right side. Put that to hold it. It's pretty self-explanatory here. Just putting 4 bolts in. And then the other side's got the model number on it. make sure you put that on up. So next time you need to order parts. I've seen guys put them on upside down. There's no model number on that engine. Yeah, there is. You done put the valve cover on upside down, you knucklehead. Okay, now we're going to put this throttle plate on, remember? Here's this little spring here, goes to here, and this is your governor spring. That hooks in here, where it's bent. Got that? Make sure these wires are out of the way, don't get pinched. Alright, now we can stick this back here. Get it lined up. 2 screws. And one over here. There we go. Don't forget, hook this in, your anti-backfire valve. This isn't no, it's like a fuel shutoff valve, but it just shuts the fuel off to the main nozzle going through the carburetor or carburetor. And then hook up our fuel line and put the clamp back on. Now we want to hook up our cables. This one's got a separate choke cable. Which is this one here. If you don't know, pull on the choke and see which one moves, and there's your choke. So it's pretty simple. If the choke is pushed all the way in, cable's all the way out, we're going to want it like that. So we're going to hook it in. Get it under the clamp there. Come on, there we go. All the way. 5/16 socket now. Tighten it down. You might want to oil that with some of that gel lube. This one's a little sticky. Now the throttle. Let's see what position the throttle's in. Let's put it all the way on fast. This is fast. This is slow. All the way out is slow. This is fast. Look at your throttle to see how it is, how it works. I'm going to explain to you how that works. So it's on fast. If you notice, there's 2 holes in here. That's because you could run this cable on this Briggs & Stratton engine. You can run it from here, you can run it from here. So it probably goes in the bottom hole. So I'm going to cycle this all the way till it stops. Now I'm going to put my hand on the throttle, and look, lots of tension against that governor spring. So that tells me that's fast. Because you could put this in here by mistake and not know it. But it goes in here. So we'll put the clamp on. This little booger here goes in that slot down there on the bottom. So what you're going to want to do is pull it all the way this way till it stops, and then tighten it down. That's fast. That's slow. Hardly any tension on there. When I go all the way up to fast, lots of tension because we're pulling against that governor spring. So that's how you set your throttle. That's how you know how to set them. One way or the other, all the way. Not that hard. Right? Right, Shadow? Okay, that's all there is to changing them heads if your valve guide came out, or if you got a blowed head gasket and you want to pull them heads off and put them back on. But remember, earlier in the video, that push rod fell inside the engine. You're all saying, hey, Caroline, you can get that push rod out? Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. So, if you wanna keep watching, I'm gonna pull this motor off, pull that cover off, and take that push rod out of there. If not, then fast forward to the end and watch the conclusion to the skit. I ain't saying there's your dinner yet because we're not done. Shadow, get off the bench. I gotta put that engine up there. What are you doing with that rocker arm? Give me that rocker arm back. Whoa! Don't growl at me. Here, I got your favorite barbecue sauce. Get it. I gotta get all that crap off the tank. Alright, now I got room to put that engine right here, as long as the shadow don't come jump back up here. Okay, now, if your engine happened to put the push rod into the crankcase and you're gonna have to pull it apart, you're gonna have to reset the governor, because the governor arm is on this cover. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the cover off, and then I'll show you how to reset it when we put it back together. Okay, I got all the bolts out. Ready? Oh, there it is. Oh, the humanity. It's trying to send me a message. It's in the shape of a letter U. Or if you look at it sideways, the letter C. But I think it's a U. There it is. Did you ever see anything like that? We couldn't leave that in there. Could have got caught in here. Could have got caught in the governor. Broke all these teeth off. There's no way I would have been able to fish that out with that magnet. Not through the dipstick or through that hole. So yeah, it come through here. See? Come through one of these holes here. And then something grabbed it and bent it up. Lucky it didn't do more damage. Alright, so then clean the gasket off. Get yourself a new gasket. Look it up. I ain't going to look it up for you. Don't be contacting me. Look up the gasket for me. You're a grown man or woman. You can look it up. Got a whole computer. Got the whole world at your fingertips. Got all these online sites to look things up. Alright. I'll give you the number for the gasket. Here's the gasket. See the price? It comes in a kit. Because they give you new bolts, instructions, you better read it. It's got all the torque specs and everything, blah, 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 blah. You better read it. And then the gasket, which is a new improved gasket. It's thicker, it's heavier, because they have problems with it. So I cleaned all gasket material off. So you lay it on there, get it on those pins. Now this is one thing I don't understand when they make these kits. You're pulling that cover off, why don't they include a crank seal? Because it's part of the cover in the kit. They already hammered you on the price for the kit. So you should replace the oil seal too since you got it apart. Now check your model just to make sure these are the right part numbers. And another thing you're going to have to do, because this is the oil pump, and this is the oil pump shaft. You got to take this out. You'll never get that cover on with that in there. And then there's the oil seal. Notice how far down it is? It's just a little bit past. I'm going to pop it out. Alright, this one's got a little ridge, so it's not going to go past that. Some of these covers are machined all the way down. You could drive the seal down too far and block off the hole, the oil hole that feeds the oil to this crank journal. You don't want to do that. That'd be bad. It'll lock up on that side. So get your new seal, put it in. Take a hammer, and lightly on the edge of the seal, start driving it in. Then you're going to have to get something, kind of drive it down. If you don't have a seal driver, piece of pipe or a big socket if you got one that size. If not, use a punch. That's what I'm going to use, a little punch. Lightly tap it down in there. Okay, there's that hole. There's your oil hole, so it's not obstructed. All right, I'm going to wipe all this oil off, and we're going to stick this back on. You might as well change the oil filter too. Now make sure you don't roll that new seal. So you might have to take a little screwdriver to get it started. You don't want to roll that seal. There we go. All right, now pair of channel locks. You don't want you want the cover to drop on. See, so you have to give it a little wiggle to get it to drop in. See? All right. Now you can take this off. This is the cover for the oil pump. There's an O-ring. You don't have to replace that. You could use that over. Pull out the oil pump gear. Drop the shaft in till it lines up with that slot in the cam. And then stick this in till this lines up. There you go. It's like a little puzzle. And wipe it off. And you can put the cover back on. And then, like in the instructions, put the bolts in, the new bolts that come in the kit, and then tighten them down like it says in those instructions. And then I'll show you how to set that governor. Alright, another thing I should have mentioned before I put that cover on is make sure this governor arm is back in the cover. You don't want it to swing out or flop the other way, but chances are if it did, it was just going to be pushing it back. So we want to put it on full throttle, which is this way on this motor. And the way you'll be able to tell is you're going to have all that tension against the spring. So you got that, full throttle this way. And the way to verify that is lots of tension on that governor spring. Alright, now you can hold it there. Now this is going to turn a little bit. So you want this way, all the way this way. And then tighten up that nut. See, they got a hex on there, 1/4 inch wrench fits on there. So now when I let go, see, this will move. And when I got it on full throttle, it'll still move. If you went the wrong way, none of this would move. So you got that? So the next time you see this motor, it's going to be back on the tractor. We're going to have oil in it. We're going to be running it. Okay, got it all back together. Changed out all them gaskets. Me and Shadow. Got that bent push rod out of there. Now we're ready to fire it up. Got oil all back in it, ready to roll here. Let's see if she'll hit a lick. there's all you gotta do. Changing them heads, pulling that motor apart. So for me and Shadow, there's your dinner.
Hey, Taryl. I'm glad to see you.
Let me guess. You and your buddy had the mower up on a jack. You were running the blades. The mower slipped off the jack, chopped off your leg.
That's not what happened at all. Short story long, I'm out on the ocean with the family on vacation, and I'm swimming around in the ocean there, and I see two 40-footers, great whites, fighting, and they're throwing it down. So naturally, I'm gonna jump in there and break them up. So I'm getting in there and I'm wrestling one, and wham! Off come my leg. Next thing I know, I'm back Podunk, waking up in P-Dunk community, 12 pounds lighter.
Gee, Willie, you're starting to look like a pirate. I guess we're gonna have to start calling you Pirate Willie. Next time you come in, you'll probably have a parrot on your shoulder.
Pretty much. Hey, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I like to climb up real close to the knives. I'm a wood chipper. And there's a stupid safety switch right there keeps shutting it down. Is there any way to bypass that little thing?
Looks like you had another accident.
Oh, crap. Not again.
I guess now we're gonna have to call you Wet Willie.